Hey everybody, Shel Broadnax with another episode of Stager Talk, and I'm super stoked today because we have the fabulous, the lovely, the brilliant Debbie Boggs.
I am so excited to be with you guys. I'm really excited about RESACON this year.
God.
I've been missing everybody, and I'm so excited about getting to be back together this year.
You know what? We are as well. It's been rough. I mean, it's been rough for everybody. It's been a rough 2 years. But we're putting it together. We're going to make it happen. I don't expect it's going to be as big as we normally do, but I think we're going to.
Why are you saying that? Are you kidding me? We are all dying to get
there. All right.
Huge this year.
I'm hoping it is. I hope we all get them there.
The biggest, best ever.
We're super excited to do it. I know the team, when we made the decision, it was like, you know what, we still know because we've polled everybody. So we know there's still some people that aren't going to travel, but we've got you covered because we're going to record the sessions. It's not going to be something where before we recorded it where you could see the speaker as well. And it was kind of discombobulated a little bit is how I kind of refer to it. And then when I spoke at NAR, I thought, oh my gosh, what they did was just brilliant. So you record the PowerPoint presentation, because when you're recording the speaker and you're trying to do that virtually online, people can't see the PowerPoint. Right. So we're going to record the PowerPoint and the speaker's audio. And so therefore brilliance, and the problem is solved. And the other good news because we're doing this is that, when you go to RESACON, there's 3 sessions that run at a time, and you can only go to one at a time. So there's 2 other sessions that you miss. Both subjects might be something you really wanted to see. So the good news is now you can. So after you get back home, you can watch it on demand at your leisure for up to.
I love that because we always have to divide our team up to divide and conquer, and be able to see them all.
Yes, that is true. I know a lot of people did that before, and it's like, you know what? We started thinking about it, and it's funny the things that you don't think about in business that you need. Like just this morning, something happened, and I'm like, well, why has it been 15 years and we've never thought of that? What a great idea, Courtney Schomburg. It's like, sometimes it just takes a little fresh perspective to look at it, but that's something we'll just do from now on. It makes so much sense.
Good.
So what are we talking about? You're talking color this year, color consultations and understanding undertones, which I have no understanding of the undertones. And I will just preface this by saying, if you are a real estate stager, and you do not educate yourself on this subject, you are doing a massive disservice to your client, because if you choose a color and it's wrong, it's a costly mistake. I know. I know. When I went to sell my house, I've told this story and I'll always tell it to make the point across. I came from my parents' house here in North Carolina, flew back home and said, oh my God, Daddy gave me all these great color go get them from Sherwin-Williams. And I'm like, I love this one and this one and this one. And I'm going to put them in my house. And I put them up and I'm like, this doesn't look anything like my father's $1 million condominium. The lighting was off. Everything was wrong. It was just, I spent so much time. I painted myself, just the extra work that I had to do. And I ended up having to get a color consultation and showed this person what my desire was. And she was so sweet. I know she just wanted to say, she's from the South, bless your heart, you just did everything wrong, but she fixed it for me. And I chose new colors and it worked. So that's just a story for you all, because if you do that with a client, this was just for me that I messed up. You do that to a client and they go out and spend $1,000 and all their time, painting their living room, and you come in and it looks peach instead of not peach or whatever you wanted, more of a beige color, you're in trouble.
Exactly. Like 40% of the paint that's sold in America is the wrong color the first time.
Real? Are you serious?
40%.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, you just can't afford to make those mistakes, not just for yourself, but for your clients. I mean, that is super embarrassing to make that mistake for a client. And we have clients all the time that will call us and ask, can you just give me a paint color over the phone? It's always an emergency. The paint is coming in the morning. We got to get this house on the market. You got to just give me a white. Any white will do, it'll be fine. And I always say, no, I will not I will not do that. I won't be responsible for
Yeah.
picking the wrong white. They think white is white is white. It is so not. And so I will not pick a paint color unless I can be physically there in the home, looking at the other hard surfaces and everything that are in the home, the light that's in there. I mean, like you said, the same color in one place looks completely different in a different setting.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about in the class. We are going to really look at the undertones, and I'm going to show you how to see them. And it's just going to be boom, like, yay, because people don't really understand how color is made. I mean, when we get, the primary things that we learned in kindergarten about, yellow and blue make green, but what's the difference between beige and taupe and greige and gray? What is all that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you how to see that and to see the undertones in those neutrals. Even, people think, oh, well, neutral is neutral. No, every beige has an undertone. Every neutral has an undertone. Every white has an undertone to it. And so we got to see those and get those right, or they really get fighting with each other and kind of make it a sick look if those undertones don't agree.
So let me ask you this, for somebody like moi, now I love color. I do love color when I see it in other places. So like I go to people's homes that are fully designed homes, and I'm just like my parents. I walk in, I'm just like, wow, this is incredible. And I'd like to live in a space like that, but I like beige. It might be actually taupe. I don't know now, Debbie. I'm confused and probably need to check that out. I like beige. I like nautical colors, but I don't like the ocean. So I like blues and whites, and definitely love brown. So for something like that, for somebody like me, because I could only remember yellow and blue make green because of a Ziploc bag commercial, how easy is it for the average person? Stagers, if you're a stager, if you're really a stager, you lean more on the creativity side of things, where I'm more as the business analytical side of things. How hard is it to really learn the undertones? I fear that people are going to say, oh, I can never, ever learn it. Tell them how easy it can be.
So yeah, once you see it, once you understand the whole, where color comes from and how it all fits together, anybody can learn it. Unless you're colorblind, but you can learn how to find those. And in our master color consultant course, it includes a color kit that has actually Pottery Barn samples, fabric samples, and Sherwin-Williams paint colors. So you can work with those together and test it yourself. Try it out and practice with that. Practice seeing those undertones in real examples of fabrics and things. And so you're practicing in the comfort of your own home, not for the first time in front of a client. So you get to really get that hands-on experience. We want you to be totally confident and prepared to walk into that consultation and really feel like the expert, and you know what to do. You know exactly how to give those colors to your client.
I love that. Now, let me ask you something, because like you just described a issue where clients will call last minute, it's emergency, you got to get paint on the wall. And you've got your confidence down to say, there's zero way that I would ever do this. The responsibility factor and the liability is just too much. It's not how it works. You can deliver that. When, let's say a newer stager is going into a situation and they're doing the color consultation and the client's not agreeing, and the client's saying, well, I want this color instead. How does somebody develop the confidence to be able to politely educate their client that what they're going with is not going to be the desire that they're seeking?
So when you are fully trained, you have that confidence, and you can go in to a client. And I always try to focus on the client's goals. Okay, first ask them, what are your goals? Is your goal to sell your home? Is your goal to live in a beautiful space that feels good to you? So those are two very different goals. And we have different strategies for reaching those goals. And so anything that, any pushback that we get, and this goes for staging, any part of staging, any pushback that we get, we just come back to the goals. Okay, well, what are your goals? Remember, you said that you wanted to sell this home quickly. And so to get you to that goal, let's open it up to the widest range of buyers and do something that's neutral. For your next house, we can have fun with that color that you love, that's crazy wild, and we can really play that up and make it look fabulous. But for this home is now a product on the market. And so let's do what's going to get it sold so we can get you onto that fun next chapter.
I love that. I love the redirect, because the way, and this is the difference of training people. Do you see what she just did? She literally took a conversation. I get where you're at. I understand where you're coming from, reminding them of their goal. And then she just scooted them on out that door and said, next time, this is where you're at. I mean, first of all, it's a great mom skill to have. Number one, let me tell you, moms, the skill set that moms have that they can bring to business, that was an example of that. And you just do that very simple redirect, and they're like, oh yeah, that really does make sense, because they need to be reminded. It's like, sweetie, this is no longer your home. It is a product, and it doesn't matter. In reality, it doesn't matter what you like at all. In fact, if we can get away from the furthest of the things that you like, it might be the best thing, not because that's bad, but that's because you're so customized in your home. And a lot of times we do customize our homes for ourselves because you do want to live it. But like we all know, the way you market and sell your home is way different than the way that we live in it.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to what you were asking about your own home, what you can do to bring in that color, but color's a little bit scary for you. So I would say, first of all, make your foundation pieces neutral, like your sofa, your rugs, your wall color, those things neutral, light colored, and then bring in your color with throw pillows and accessories and art, because those you can change up. Yeah. The thing is, we get tired of color really quickly. It's so bold and strong that you kind of have to change it up, because it's hard to live with really strong, bold color long term. And that's why it's great for things like an Airbnb, because people are only there for a couple of days. They're not there long enough to get sick of it.
That's brilliant.
So we can get a little more wild and crazy in the Airbnb design, which, by the way, that market is blowing up. And we're doing proposals and Airbnbs every day now. It's just unbelievable. But in those, you can definitely get a lot more adventurous with your color and your design than you can with staging. Yeah. It's a very different market.
I would think as a stager, to diversify, what everybody offers, you're obviously always going to look at your services that you offer and say, which ones are profitable, which ones are not. Let's cut the ones, if it's not working for you, don't do a lot of them, you can kind of shelf those. But man, the Airbnb market, I would just think, and I am creative. I do like the creatives and the colors and things like that, but I wouldn't want to do it for a living. It's not something I'm going to wake up every day and say, oh, I cannot wait to go do this. But I have an appreciation for it. So the Airbnb market, if I was a stager full time, I'd be like, that would be my jam, because you could really get creative. In addition to that, the more creative that you can get in that Airbnb, you're going to make that client more money. Because people are literally looking at those pictures online going, do I want to sleep in this place? So when I go to places, we did stayed in Florida in Airbnb a few years ago, and it was near Disney. And so, of course, they had the Disney room for the kids. And they do the bunk beds and the whole themed thing. And I'm like, that's so brilliant for an Airbnb near a destination vacation.
Oh, absolutely. People want to, they're going to a destination. They want to go soak up some of the local flavor. So, bringing in that local flavor. If you're in Santa Fe, making it look desertish, if you're in Vegas, having a strip, not strip club, but the strip theme, we stayed in a place in New Orleans, an Airbnb that was adorable, and it had these unbelievably gaudy gold chairs, which would be completely out of place, in a New York apartment or something. but they were fabulous in the French Quarter.
Yeah.
So bringing in some of that local flavor and really giving people an Instagrammable moment, and color does that very well. Creating that dramatic, ooh, catch your eye thing, because you want people to be taking those photos and then tagging your Airbnb in those photos. So sorry, I got off on Airbnbs. We're supposed to be talking about
That's okay. That's okay, because you teach about Airbnbs as well.
Yeah.
So let's just plug that right now. Tell everybody, what's the name of the class that you're doing for the Airbnb?
So it's the short-term rental stylist course. And it takes a deep dive into seeing your Airbnb from all the different perspectives, not just as a designer, but you've got to think about the investor. They're looking at the bottom line, not just how much they spend, but how much are they going to get in return on that investment.
Yeah.
You're thinking about it from a cleaning perspective. Sometimes you only have an hour to turn that property between guests. And so everything's got to be really easy to clean, really easy to get that turned around fast. You're thinking about the guest and, creating that Instagrammable experience for them, a real adventure and an experience for them, a vacation. You're thinking about the booking site. What is the booking site? Typically Airbnb, but there's VRBO, there's all kinds of booking sites. What is that site looking for that's going to help them promote your listing better? So just all of those different perspectives we're looking at and talking about how to design it to be optimized for everybody. And it's such a fun class. And I'm telling you, that market is just going crazy right now. So it's a great pivot or additional service for stagers to offer.
Yeah, I think it would be so much fun to be able to do those, and also to be able to show your client. I think a lot of times the clients, if they're an investor and they're buying these properties to short-term rental them, and that's really the correct term, short-term rental. Airbnb is an actual brand name. It's turned into Kleenex at this point, instead of tissue paper, but that's what we mean, short-term rental. I think a lot of people, when they buy them, they say, yeah, we have to have something done to it. But I think the average person is not even thinking that far ahead of going, we really need to deck this out. And for a stager to come in to be able to say, hey, this is how we present this property. If you do this color and you do this giant artwork and these great statement pieces, and we make it an experience, and you can show them pictures from your portfolio, that's going to get you the job. Because a lot of times, they just might, come in and they're thinking, on this level, and you come in and hit them with this and show them the income potential with that and what it can do for them. That's when you're going to get hired.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because when Airbnb started, just started with a couple of guys trying to, how can we make rent this month? Maybe we could rent out our couch. And you know what? Like 8 people took them up on this crazy offer. And they went, well, maybe we have something here. And it just started to grow from there. And it took off. It was a good idea. It kind of took off, but it was kind of, wasn't the crazy, huge, multi-billion-dollar
industry
it is now, and so they finally figured out the key. And stagers, this will not surprise stagers at all. The key was the photos. And so they hired a photographer, went around and took beautiful photos of the different properties. And all of a sudden, it exploded.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's staging, it's
Absolutely.
When you make those photos look so inviting, so beautiful, so enticing, that people fall in love and go, I want to stay there. I want to live there. That's what staging's all about.
Yeah.
So it's fun to have the other avenue.
Absolutely. And the good news is you learn everything that you need to learn about color, and you can add that to that part of your business. And then, of course, in your regular staging, it'll keep you out of hot water by making the wrong choices. So we're just about the end of our time. I thank you so much for joining me today. It's always a pleasure to speak to everybody over at Staging Studio. Check them out. Tell everybody your website so everybody can reach you.
We're at stagingstudio.com, and we offer all of the courses to all of the resources for you as stagers in your staging and redesign business. And thank you so much, Shell, for letting me be on here. I love talking to you, and I can't wait to see you at RESACON.
I cannot wait to be there. And just a reminder, Staging Studio, they are actually a RESA accredited provider. So let me just explain what that means. It means they went through a vigorous review.
Yes.
People always say, "Oh, how bad can it be?"
It's rough.
It's rough because it's a self-discovery application. So a lot of times, and it doesn't mean that companies were bad before this at all. It just makes you think, like what I said earlier today, I can't think of everything at once. Why did it take 15 years for somebody to come up with a great idea that today I was like, oh, why didn't I think of that? It's one of those things that it makes you kind of reflect on your own business. It makes you a stronger company going through the application. So we've actually reviewed them. It's checks and balances. These are the rules, checks and balances that you meet them. And we do that in an effort to avoid, what do we call them? Fly-by-night training companies that have come on scene in the past and just took people's money, just left and right, took people's money. They're gone now, which is great. Nobody's going through that, but we figured this is something that we can do for the industry to be able to know that when somebody goes to Staging Studios or another RESA accredited provider, they know they've met these requirements. So kudos to y'all for doing it. We appreciate it because it raises the bar in the industry for sure. So visit Staging Studio for your needs. They've got the core training, they've got niche training, they've got continuing education specific training. You got it all. And I appreciate you. And for everybody else, come to RESACON, get your ticket. You will also get with your ticket the on-demand sessions. So everything's being recorded. And if you don't want to fly and you're not ready or you are too busy or something comes up, do the RESACON anyway, because you get all the recordings and you can watch them at home when you want. I would say,
though, there is no substitute for being there in person and really being a part of the community.
Yeah.
You meet people that will be friends for life, people that have your back, people that you can call and say, look, I'm having this problem. I need help. It's just, there's no substitute for being there in person and really experiencing that.
That's true. You know, something we've also found with RESACON is that when people come in, they're meeting new people. It's amazing how the universe just lines up exactly what you need when everybody's in the same place. The camaraderie, the friendships. I've been in this industry. February was my 20-year anniversary in the industry. And thank you. I have friendships going back from February 9th, 2002. So when I got into this industry was my first day. And I know people from that day still today that are in this industry. So the friendships last you a lifetime. In addition, the growth that everybody gives to each other, the education that you learn, nobody can repossess your education. So you're going to have that for a lifetime as well.
Exactly.
All right, everybody.
Good to see you.
Yeah, see you in July. Everybody else get to RESACON because Debbie nailed it. There's nothing like it's in person. Until then, happy staging, everybody.
Okay, bye.